Chapter 7. The Reign of the Giants. Born of the union between the Watchers and the daughters of men, the Nephilim grew rapidly in strength, size, and arrogance. From birth, they were different. Their bodies were huge, their muscles like mountains, and their hunger insatiable. Their presence was a reminder of the corruption the Watchers had brought to Earth. At first, humans revered them as gods because of their immense power, but they soon discovered that the Nephilim did not seek to rule justly, but to subjugate all to their will. The giants ruled as tyrants, exacting tribute from human cities. They wanted not only food and riches, but total subjugation. With their bare hands they could tear down trees like branches, and with a blow they could tear down walls. Humans lived in fear, always under the shadow of their colossal masters. The Nephilim's thirst for destruction. It was not enough to rule. The Nephilim inherited from their fallen parents a deep hatred for the Creator's creation. They saw humans as inferior, and their mission was not only to dominate, but to wipe men from the earth. They began to devour the food of the villages, leaving the people to starve. When resources ran out, some even began to eat human flesh, transforming into monsters in every way. Wars broke out between the Nephilim and the humans who resisted them. Although men were small and weak in comparison, they used their wits, creating weapons and forming alliances between tribes to defend themselves. However, few could stand against the devastating power of the giants. Spears bounced off their thick hides, and their swords barely left superficial wounds. Each battle ended with an uncountable number of dead. The battles of the giants. The Nephilim also fought among themselves. Their immense pride and lust for power led to internal disputes. The strongest giants began to clash for dominion of the earth. These battles were spectacular and catastrophic. The clash of the Titans, two giant brothers, Ogias and Ammon, led clans of Nephilim in a war over the lands of the valley. The battle lasted for days. Their blows were like earthquakes, and as their bodies fell, they left craters in the earth. In the end, Ogias uprooted an immense tree and used it as a spear to pierce his brother, claiming victory. The fall of the city of Enoch. The Nephilim attacked a human city protected by skilled warriors. Desperate men dug deep ditches and filled them with oil. As the giants advanced, they set fire to the traps, engulfing several in flames. However, even so, the giants managed to scale the walls, destroying the city and enslaving the survivors. The human resistance. Although the men were terrified, some refused to surrender. Human warriors began to use more cunning tactics. They hid in forests and mountains, ambushing the giants in places where their size was a disadvantage. One of the most famous leaders of the resistance was a man named Jared. Known as the Giant Slayer, Jared organized a small army that fought bravely against the Nephilim. Jared and his army found ways to hurt the giants. They used catapults to hurl gigantic rocks that could crush the Nephilim. They built moats with sharpened stakes to trap their massive feet. They poisoned their food, weakening some before attacking them. Although they achieved some victories, they always lost valuable men, and human resistance seemed doomed to failure. The pride of the Watchers and the wrath of the Creator. Meanwhile, the Watchers, the fallen angels who had fathered the Nephilim, continued to watch from their hiding places. Although they could no longer display their true power openly, they reveled in the chaos their children had sown. They taught the Nephilim new arts of war, creating gigantic weapons and teaching them to build fortresses impossible to siege. But heaven was not indifferent. Michael's loyal angels watched the corruption that the Nephilim and the Watchers brought to the world. One of the loyal angels descended to warn Jared and his people. The Creator's patience is about to end. The flood will come to cleanse the earth of this evil. Prepare yourselves, for only the righteous will survive. The last great battle. The Nephilim, sensing that something terrible was approaching, prepared for a final battle against men. The survivors of the human tribes united under the leadership of Jared and other leaders. This time, with the divine knowledge that had been given to them, they managed to inflict great casualties on the giants. The battle culminated in a valley between two mountains. Though the humans fought bravely, they knew it was only a matter of time before they were defeated. But at the darkest moment, the sky began to open, and the first rains of the flood began to fall. The Nephilim's ruin. The rains were not normal. The waters rose faster than the giants could react. Many were caught in the floods, drowned by the ever-rising waves. Even the strongest could not escape, for divine wrath had reached them. The righteous men, led by Noah, took refuge in the ark as the world was purged. When the waters finally receded, there was no trace of the Nephilim left, save their ruins and legends. Their souls, caught between the mortal and the divine, wandered as dark shadows, unable to find rest. They became the first evil spirits that would torment humanity for generations.